Aw, man. All my players canceled again. After all that time prepping such an awesome campaign. Maybe DMing's just not for me. I should probably just call it off until everyone's more available. Some of this sound familiar? Or maybe you're just starting to suspect that your players aren't really engaged with your game like they used to be. You're not alone. And let me show you how to fix it. Hey there, I'm Zay Guide to Masters, and today I want to share with you a method I've developed to create compelling campaigns that will have your players clearing their schedules each week to come back and play. Some of this might be familiar territory for veteran DMs out there, but I promise, there's something in here for everyone, so stick around. And remember, while I might be your guide, I'm still learning right alongside you. Everything I share is based on a few years of non-stop DMing. Playing, failing, and sure as heck improving. So, do we level up? So grab your boots, prep your spells, and let's begin our journey. Next stop, creating an engaging campaign. If you're new to tabletop role-playing games and have never sat in the DM seat before, now is a great time to give it a shot. Love reading and writing stories? You're halfway there. Got a dozen character ideas locked and loaded ready for your next campaign? That creativity can be redirected and fuel a plethora of various NPCs. Even if world building isn't really your thing or you're nervous about storytelling in front of your peers, there are plenty of systems out there that take that spotlight off of the DM and share it with the rest of the table, alleviating much of that stress. One of these I've tried personally and would recommend is a system called Fate. But there are plenty of other systems that do this very well. And hey, let's be honest, DMs are in much shorter supply than players are these days, so you're almost guaranteed to assemble a group if you give it a shot. If you're even slightly curious, try running a one-shot. Worst case, you find it's not really your thing. And best case, you found a whole new passion. To start building your campaign, first you need a setting. Most often, that's a high fantasy world, but even in that case, go one step further. What makes this world unique? Is magic outlawed or in short supply? Have the gods vanished behind a sealed gate in the heavens? Does everyone have to memorize the king's 12 decrees and recite them on command or face execution? This is your time to create a general framework. Don't overcommit to any ideas yet. Flexibility leaves room for the players to make their contributions to the game as well. And you want something unique, but not so rigid that it locks others out from contributing. And if world building overwhelms you, skip this step and come back to it later. Once you've met with your players, you'll have a lot more to go on. Or even meet with them for a pregame session where you cooperatively build this world together. The next step is finding a group of players, which can feel tough, honestly, but in my experience, you've got two main options. Your easily accessible players, as I refer to them, which is any friends that have expressed interest, coworkers, people you know on a fundamental level to trust enough to invite to your games. And second, these would be high-risk, high-reward players, or strangers, via game stores or online forums or whatever other mediums you can find people through. For friends, here are a few tips that I like to go with. Number one is they must be committed to the game. 4 hours a week is a lot. You need to make sure that they understand the time investment that you're making. Just because your friend says they want to try it does not necessarily mean they understand how much time it takes and how much everyone else's time and energy goes into it. That's why running one-shots for these players can be oftentimes a good and welcoming way to introduce them to the game, see if it's for them. Comfort with roleplay or the idea of roleplay can also help a lot. Acting experience is great, but certainly not essential. Just make sure they're willing to try, because at the end of the day, this is a social game about interacting with each other. And you can't really do that if you're thinking of this as an isolated experience. TTRPG experience is totally optional. I oftentimes see this one as a priority when searching for players, but sometimes newer players are more adaptable than experienced ones with rigid habits. However, don't rule them out, because a flexible vet can be your greatest asset. Now onto my tips for finding strangers. This one can be a little bit more difficult to sort through, and you tend to have to say no to a lot more people. But I believe in you, and there are plenty out there. The first tip I'd have, they're already committed. These players are actively looking for a game, which usually means they're ready to show up consistently without you even having to engage too much. But the sheer number of options for players does not necessarily mean that they're interested in the same game. Which brings me to my second point. You need to filter these players carefully. So make sure your game type and expectations are crystal clear before even advertising your game. And yes, I do have a helpful tool for that, so stay till the end. Once you've got your player group, meet with them one-on-one, talk through their character ideas, and make sure they align with the world and the campaign setting that you're hoping to run. I'll cover this one more in depth in another video, but to put it shortly, ask, how does this character fit into the world? And then work together to embed their backstory into the plot, not just drop their hometown on a map and forget about it. If something doesn't fit, don't be so quick to shut it down. This is why we left our world building so loose. Workshop alternatives with the player of how they can more clearly fit into what you had in mind. The more players see their ideas enacted in the game, the more invested they become. You've got the characters, you know what motivates them. Now it's time to build the world around these motivations. Like the world-class puzzle master I know you are, start piecing together the goals of their backstories. Interweave them with story arcs, side quests, and even the central villain of your story. Or just let the first random enemy that they decide to really hate on turn into the big bad. You don't have to plan everything at once. Just try and keep their character motivations in mind as you prep each session. Final tip, and it's a big one, set a consistent schedule. Forget about polls and endless calendar juggling. Trust me, I've done it all. Choose a day and time that works for most people in your group and stick with it. Whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, or even monthly, routine builds momentum in your campaign. My campaign runs every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. We occasionally have somebody who's missing, but unless more than one player is missing, we don't cancel the session, which I think builds a good established routine into the players, and the expectation that even if they'll miss, things are gonna happen when they're not there. Consistency is the magic to long-running campaigns, and I hope it can work for you as well. We've covered a lot, so I've added timestamps down below so you can revisit wherever you need. Look, there's nothing wrong with pre-writing an entire story, or even running modules for that matter. They're great when starting out, but in my experience, nothing beats building a story from the ground up, around the player's ideas. Everyone will feel like they had a part in the story that you tell at the table. And isn't that what this is all about? Sharing the games we love with the people we get to know along the way. Have any tips of your own? Respectfully disagree with me? Drop a comment below. I would love to hear from your perspective. Thanks for watching, everyone. As promised, I've linked below the exact survey form that I use for vetting online players. Attach the link to a survey or an outline that you've created for your campaign setting or world, and like magic, you've got committed players that are all looking for the same things that you are. Feel free to make a copy and use it for yourself. You may need to make some brief edits to it if you're planning to use it for in-person play, but you can print those off just the same. If I missed anything on the sheet, let me know about that as well. I'd love to add it. This is Zay, your humble guide to masters, and I will see you on the next page of the guide.